Joe is the most important guy in DC. Maybe the most important guy in America today. He is keeping our elected officials somewhere in the middle. And anywhere center right to center left works for me.
Okay, so that is Nelson Peltz, the founder of Tryon Partners, formerly a supporter of Donald Trump, interestingly enough. Had a fundraiser for the former president at his home in Palm Beach, Florida. Tickets to that cost $500,000 per couple. He's a billionaire, very wealthy individual. He's contributed over $200,000 to the RNC during the last election cycle, donated to David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler because he wanted the Republicans to maintain control of the Senate, gave to House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. He has $1.7 billion. And he said, we need Manchin to keep things in the middle. Center right to center left, I don't care, it's good for me. And I just want to thank Nelson Peltz because he's making the point better than I have been able to of what the hell the center is supposed to be. What the F moderate means. What moderate means is billionaires like it. It does not challenge billionaires. And that is what Joe Manchin and people like Kirsten Sinema are there to do. It's not moderate, it's not center, it's not between two things. It's not a compromise between left and right. It is its own hardcore radical position. But the radical position is not to remake America in a leftist image or remake America in a conservative image. It is to make sure that nothing changes, nothing fundamental, nothing structural. They have become rich, powerful, wealthy, in control with the system that we have. And they have radicals who want to maintain that system. And so when you hear moderate, when you hear the center left, center white, whatever, just think of Nelson Peltz. Think of his interests, because he doesn't want anything to change. Dude's made a couple billion and he's looking towards 10. He'd love to hit 50. He wants to get richer, but he's gonna need people like Joe Manchin to make sure that it happens. Gary, what do you think?
I think that there's this desire, even when you look at a Trump becoming president, that people look at rich people and say, oh, they know something, right? And what rich people know is how to keep themselves rich. They don't necessarily know how to solve problems for working class people. As a matter of fact, they do a really good job of giving a stiff arm to working class people and making sure that we're not advancing beyond where they want us to be, because that cuts into their profits and their ability to get a higher ranking on the Forbes list, right? At Peltz level in the world, it's about how much more can I acquire to leave to my great grandkids? And we got folks worrying about how can they feed their grandkids right there, right?
Yeah.
We got people worrying about how can they put food on the table for the children in their families right now. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, staying in the middle don't do nothing for nobody. Right? And that is the thing that we need to recognize, that if we do what we've always done, we're gonna get what we've always got, and this country can never be all that it can be. We've got to be able to look at people like that and say, you know what, just because you made a lot of money doesn't mean that you know a damn thing about politics and public policy. It doesn't mean, because what we realize with billionaires is all they're concerned about is the business of government, right? Not the services of government. And government is supposed to serve the people. And the things that serve the people are important. And the way we fund them is by making people like him pay more of their money, which is a fair share, right?
Yeah.
Because don't tell me just because he gives millions of dollars in taxes, but you've got billions sitting there, and the percentage, I may pay 28, 29% in taxes, and a guy like him pays 10, 12% in taxes. That's not fair.
Yeah,
just because he pays more money,
that much.
Who feels it more? And so we're not having these conversations in a very practical way. We're allowing people to be mesmerized by the money that other people have. I want you to have money. And the only way you're gonna have money is if we build a more balanced system.
100%. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who did that study of people like Bezos and Elon Musk, the actual effective tax rate that they pay. This dude has $1.7 billion. I don't know what his salary is. It's probably like 20, 30, $40 million. But what I know is it ain't nothing compared to the wealth he has. So even if we raise the tax rate 2 or 5 or 10%, he'll pay a little bit more. He might, let's say he pays $1 million. He has 1.7 billion. He doesn't care about that. It doesn't have any effect on him whatsoever. You could have a wealth tax. You could actually tax accrued wealth that's just sitting there, often being held outside of the United States. And again, it wouldn't actually have an effect on him. That dude, if you took 2% of his wealth every year, you know what would happen to it? It would continue to grow. It wouldn't even shrink, and if it did, it wouldn't have any effect on him. But they're addicted. It's dragon sickness. That's all it is. He is sitting on a mountain of gold and he wants more of it, and he doesn't want you to have it, and he is fine if you suffer as a result of that lack. And if it means that we're not gonna invest in infrastructure, we're not gonna build more highways, there's not gonna be elder care, we're not gonna have any of that. He doesn't care, he's fine. He ain't suffering for anything at $1.7 billion. And by the way, we don't have time for the video, but he says he talks to Manchin every week, and I am not surprised by that at all. Just like the Exxon CEO and all of that, they have direct access to these senators. We have to follow them into bathrooms to have a chance of talking with them. They get phone calls every week because they dish out checks for $500,000 at a time. Any final thoughts, Gary?
Who paid for your politician?
Yep. Yeah. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.